20-year-old Kyan Thompson is wanted over the fatal shooting of 18-year-old Kimora Johnson. The events unfolded on the evening of the 2nd of July 2022, when officers received reports of shots fired at a home located at 397 West Church Street in Yanceyville, North Carolina. Before arrival, deputies discovered that Kimora was identified as a victim of gunfire and she'd been transported to a local hospital in a critical condition. She had 2 gunshot wounds to her back and she succumbed to her injuries just hours later. After investigating the matter, the authorities identified 20-year-old Kyan Thompson of Danville as a suspect. The sheriff's office obtained an arrest warrant for Kyan. He's wanted on a charge of first-degree murder, but the authorities have been unable to locate the fugitive. The relationship between the two and the motive behind the attack is unclear, as the investigation into the matter continues. 24-year-old Derek Adjei is facing charges in the fatal shooting of 36-year-old Cole Stoner. The incident occurred at 10:26 p.m. on the 3rd of July 2022, when the authorities responded to reports of random gunfire outside the City Dogs restaurant, located at 1309 West Main Street in Richmond, Virginia. When authorities arrived at the scene, they found Cole's unresponsive body laying on the patio of the restaurant. He had been shot and was declared dead at the scene. About half an hour later, the authorities observed a Toyota 4Runner SUV travelling at speeds of over 100 miles per hour in 70-mile zones. They chased the vehicle as it left the Interstate 95 at exit 161 and headed north until it tried turning into Sacramento Drive, when the driver lost control of the vehicle and ran off the road and struck a utility pole and then a tree. The driver of the vehicle was confirmed to be Derek Adjei. He was arrested at 11:01 p.m. and a firearm was seized from the Toyota. Derek was transported to a hospital for treatment to the minor injuries he sustained in the crash. He was then transported to the Rappahannock Regional Jail. Derek has been charged with eluding police, with reckless driving and malicious wounding. The authorities say other charges are pending as they await autopsy results during the homicide investigation. Retired police officer 60-year-old Richard Crowder has been arrested for 2 counts of murder and firearm offences relating to the killing of 2 women, which also involved a standoff with police. The incident occurred at around 9:30 a.m. on the 2nd of July 2022, when the authorities responded to the 7600 block of Phillips Woods Drive in Richmond, Virginia, located at the end of the court on reports of a shooting. When officers arrived at the scene, Richard barricaded himself inside the home and began firing at them. They took cover and waited for backup to arrive, and a standoff ensued. 2 men jumped out of the windows of the home after hearing gunfire and ran to safety and were not hurt. Multiple agencies arrived in the area, including SWAT teams, helicopters and an aircraft. The police communicated with Richard inside the home to try and get him to come out. At 6:24 p.m, almost 9 hours later, Richard walked out of the 2-story home while still on the phone with police and surrendered. There were no reported injuries to first responders. When officers entered the home, they discovered the lifeless bodies of 2 women. They were identified as Diane Crowder of Henrico County and her daughter Carrie Zacks of nearby Mechanicsville. The police said that Richard shot and killed Diane and Carrie inside the house before barricading himself inside for almost 9 hours until he came out to surrender. The authorities said the standoff was domestic related, but they would not elaborate on the details. It's reported that Richard was a former Henrico police officer who retired in 2014. Richard has been charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder, 3 counts of use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and 1 count of malicious shooting. He's been held without bond at the Henrico County Jail as the investigation into the matter continues. 22-year-old Robert Eugene Cremo III is in custody after being suspected of killing 6 people and wounding dozens more in a mass shooting in Chicago. The incident occurred at 10:14 a.m. on the 4th of July 2022, when an Independence Day parade celebration held at Highland Park, Illinois, turned into a nightmare. The gunman opened fire from the rooftop of the Ross Cosmetics building near the parade, located on the northwest corner of Central Avenue and 2nd Street. He gained access to the elevated position by using an unsecured ladder attached to the building. The parade had not reached the intersection when the shooter began his attack. Momentarily, some people mistaken the sound for fireworks or even a car backfiring, until people realized what was happening and started screaming and running for cover. It's reported that 6 people were killed and dozens more were injured before the gunman fled the scene. Christopher Cavelli from the Lake County Major Crime Task Force said the gun was a high-powered rifle and the attack appeared to be random and intentional. By mid-afternoon, the authorities identified Robert as a person of interest. They said he was armed and dangerous, and they sought the public's help in locating him, saying he was believed to be driving a 2010 silver Honda Fit. At around 6:30 p.m, more than 8 hours after the shooting, Robert was spotted by a North Chicago officer who attempted to initiate a traffic stop. But Robert fled and led the officers on a brief pursuit before he was stopped at Lake Forest in Illinois. Officers pointed their guns at Robert and commanded him to put his hands in the air. Robert complied without incident and he was taken into custody. He was then transported to the Highland Park Police Department. Christopher Cavelli said that the investigators were processing a large amount of digital evidence towards identifying Robert as a suspect, though no charges have been filed against him at this stage, and there's no indication of any motive, he said. Robert is an amateur rapper who has uploaded disturbing videos on social media using the alias Awake the Rapper. He's posted shootings, gun violence, and other violent themes, with one video of a crude animation of a gunman being killed by police. He posted a video of a beheading a week before the shooting. The investigation into the matter continues,